Graduates, you entered this building today as students and you will leave as alumni. Before that transformation takes place, it's appropriate to hear from a representative of the class of 2023. Accepting that responsibility for this evening's ceremony is Andrew Biegner. Before I call Drew forward, allow me to tell you a little bit about this exceptional student. Drew graduates today from the College of Health and Human Sciences with a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science and with a 3.94 grade point average. He's had an extremely positive academic career, including 2 semesters on the President's List and a 4.0 grade point average in his major. Drew was also a Dr. Gary B. and Pamela S. Williams Honors College Scholar. At the same time Drew was excelling in his studies, he served as president of the Exercise Science Club and was a student ambassador for the Dean's Team. He's a member of the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity and served in a leadership role for the AK Rowdies, a student group devoted to supporting the university's student athletes and athletic teams. After graduation, Drew will begin a doctoral program in physical therapy at Virginia Commonwealth University. Drew is the son of Stephen and Michelle Biegner. Drew, it's a great honor to invite you to come forward and address the 2023 graduating class.
Hello and good evening, friends, family, and fellow graduates of the University of Akron's College of Health and Human Sciences. I'm honored to stand before you on this momentous occasion. When I found out that I was going to have the opportunity to speak today, I was overflowing with excitement, but I will admit I struggled with piecing together what to talk about. I knew I couldn't really mess this one up, or my family, my girlfriend, and especially my roommates would never let me hear the end of it. So after spending hours pacing around my room, mulling over what I was going to speak about, I decided that I'd like to tell you 2 stories today, one of which is a personal story, and the other holds a message that is very close to my heart, and one that I hope you will take with you today as you leave here a graduate of the University of Akron. First off, when I was 12 years old, I truly thought my father wanted me to grow up and become Mahatma Gandhi. Now I know that may sound ridiculous, but just hear me out for 1 minute. Every morning before I left for school, my father would stick his head out of the window and tell me, "Go out there and change the world, son." And as a kid who then went into his first period social studies class at Clarence Middle School and learned about the stories of historical figures who quite literally changed the world, I assumed that my father wanted me to grow up and impact the world on a scale equivalent to liberating an entire country, because he wanted me to be like Gandhi, right? Well, not exactly. What my father really meant was that he wanted me to grow up and make sure that I grew into someone who was going to spread peace, love, and positivity to everyone that I came to know. And as I began to realize the true meaning behind what my father was saying, I started to understand why this message, this goal, was so important. Open any social media app, watch any news channel of your preference, read the latest headlines, and you'll encounter stories of hate and anger. It feels like every day we stray further and further from peace, from love, and from positivity. So now I'd like to share with you my second story, and it's one that I really believe deserves more time in the spotlight, and a story from which we can all learn so much from. This past month on Patriots' Day was the 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombings. I've read books and watched movies about that horrible day, but I've never been moved like I was last month when reading about Martin Richard, an 8-year-old boy who was there with his family on Boylston Street, where the race comes to a finish. Martin was the youngest victim of that terrible, tragic day. And in the weeks that followed, a photo of him started to spread around the news. And in this photo was 8-year-old Martin, holding a sign with 2 hearts on each edge, and in the middle the words, "No more hurting people," with 1 word below it, peace. Martin's life was taken decades too early, but his legacy, his message, is one that deserves to be shared eternally. His sign, with its message of peace, leaves behind a legacy of love, a legacy of positivity, a light that shines through the darkest of times. I was incredibly moved by the power of Martin's message, and I could not stop thinking about how I could apply his words to what I do in my life, and how we as people are moving further and further away from the words on Martin's sign. No more hurting people. Peace. And while there is inherent good in much of what occurs in our society, it would be ignorant to turn an eye to the negativity and hate that sometimes runs rampant around us. So, what if we all lived more like 8-year-old Martin Richard? What if we shared uplifting compliments instead of insulting comments? What if we spoke lovingly and understandingly to those with whom we disagree with? And what if we spread messages of peace instead of those of violence? As I stand here today in front of hundreds of graduating seniors who are about to enter the real world, one of real-life decisions, real-life consequences, I see only one path forward for us. I encourage you all to take a step back and outwardly choose to spread peace, love, and positivity to everyone that you interact with, and live by the words that Martin Richard was remembered by. No more hurting people. Peace. So today, as you officially move on to the next chapter of your life, I hope that you'll follow that path and leave here with peace, love, and positivity being the spine of your success. It is with this final charge that I implore you to reflect on the time you've had, the impact you will leave, and the positive future in front of you. And finally, with that, I hope you go out there and change the world. Thank you.